that short that I sent you over the text yesterday, that's got almost 350,000 views.
Yeah.
When we were all three doing the podcast together in the studio, I told that story about, I was watching the Sean Ryan show, and there was this father priest on the show. I said preacher in the show, and I'm getting a ton of hate because I said preacher, and he's a Catholic priest, and like, oh my gosh, the verbiage.
Oh, I didn't see that.
My God, you idiot. He's a priest, not a preacher. How stupid can you be? Okay, so he's a father, he's a priest, a Catholic priest. He was talking about numbers in succession, and his number is 444. And whenever he sees that, it means something spiritual to him. And I said 111, and so now it's taken off.
That's right. And you saw it on the license plate.
Yes, and they had the crucifix and the swords, and man, are we getting a lot of hate.
So my take on this is, I think that God speaks to different people in different ways, and that's not to say that, Brett, obviously the only way that God talks with you is through numbers. Not at all. But I do think that he can take things like that and give you little signs of having an open mind, of seeing what's in front of you, being conscious about it. After that show came out, Brett, I left town and I went and checked into a hotel, and I was in room 1313. And right off the bat, I was like, 13, I'm on the 13th floor. That's kind of it's just odd, right? It's just weird. And man, I'm telling you, that entire trip, I saw 13 nonstop. I was playing a white elephant game with a couple friends, and I was number 13. I was on flight number that ended in 13. There were all these things, and I kept on asking God. I was like, this can't mean nothing, right? There's got to be something going on here. Like, what does this mean? I don't have an answer yet, but there's something. I do honestly, from my heart, believe that there's something to it. Is it as big as maybe everybody online is thinking that we're trying to say that it is? Probably not. But is it something? Yes, it means something. And I think that it's kind of on us to decipher or to trust God that he's trying to either tell us something or give us a sign of something. I don't know.
My belief is that it's you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and nothing more.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And if you take around when you get the signs, and you think about all the things going on in your life, and you're questioning everything, and then there's that little tick that says, "Hey, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're where you're supposed to be. Just keep going." And so I'm like, all right, cool.
I mean, it's one of those things that we can all be conscious of, right? I mean, we obviously know that God speaks through numbers. There's the 3, 7, 40, all in the Bible.
And the Fibonacci sequence too, right? Like the numbers are everywhere in this universe.
I don't think that there's... Do I have an answer on if you see a special number like 1111 or, 444, whatever, is that something? I don't know. I don't think we have those answers. I know one, we could filter everything through the Word of God, because that is how we can measure everything and filter and see if it is from Him. And then two, look, if it's just pointing you back to Him, and just you're in the car and you see that number, or you're checking the hotel, and the first thing you think of is Him, man, that's cool. That's no different than wearing a string on your finger to remind you of something. If it's a special something that reminds you of Him, your Father, and you send a prayer up or you send a thanks up, man, I don't see any wrong with it.
That's cool.
Getting past that, you might need to be careful, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm sure people disagree or agree. I mean, it's if that's your angel number or whatever, then cool,
It seemed to me a lot of the comments on there were like people saying, you guys are crazy, this means nothing. And maybe we are crazy. That's a fair statement. But I don't know, man. I don't feel like it means nothing. And that's not to say that here on earth we may not ever know like what that's about. But Mark, I like your answer about it means that you're sort of in the right place at the right time, and you're sort of where you ought to be or need to be at that time. I kind of like that. I'm going to go with that from now.
Guys, if you like this clip and want to see the episode in full, go ahead and click here. And if you want to see another clip, click here.